thousands of years, humans looked up at the sky and wondered what it would feel like to
carrying the
be.
whole sun with it.
Birds made it look effortless, while people remained bound to the earth. Today, that ancient dream has become so normal that millions of people board airplanes every single day without a second thought. We sit comfortably above the clouds, watching movies, eating meals, and crossing continents in a matter of hours. Yet very few people truly understand what is happening around them when an airplane leaves the ground. An airplane is not magic. It is not defying nature. In fact, it is obeying the laws of physics with incredible precision. Every sound you hear, every vibration you feel, and every movement the aircraft makes is carefully designed, tested, and repeated thousands of times across the world every single day. This is the complete story of airplanes, from the moment they prepare for takeoff to cruising high above the earth, from the turbulence, engine power, mysterious design choices, landings, airports, and the future of flight. Everything explained simply, calmly, and clearly. Long before an airplane ever moves, preparation begins. Pilots don't simply walk into a cockpit and push a button. Before each flight, they study the weather, the route, the aircraft's weight, the fuel required, and even alternative airports in case something unexpected happens. Every detail matters, because once an airplane leaves the ground, planning becomes the foundation of safety. When passengers are boarding, the aircraft itself is already alive. Electrical systems are running. Computers are checking sensors. Fuel is balanced across tanks. The aircraft knows its own weight down to the smallest detail, because weight determines how fast it must travel to lift off the runway. One of the most common questions people ask is simple. How can something so heavy possibly fly? The answer lies in the wings. Airplane wings are carefully shaped to interact with the air in a very specific way. As the aircraft moves forward, air flows over and under the wings. The shape of the wing causes air pressure above it to become lower than the pressure below it. This difference in pressure creates lift. Lift is the force that pushes the airplane upward. But lift alone is not enough. Speed is equally important. This is why airplanes need long runways. The faster an airplane moves, the more lift its wings can generate. During takeoff, pilots gradually increase engine power until the aircraft reaches a precise speed calculated before the flight. At that exact moment, the wings are producing enough lift to overcome the aircraft's weight. When the nose of the airplane gently rises, that moment is called rotation. It is one of the most carefully controlled phases of flight. Too early, and the plane won't have enough speed. Too late, and valuable runway is wasted. When done correctly, the airplane lifts smoothly into the air. Many people notice that takeoffs often feel powerful, sometimes even aggressive. This is intentional. Takeoff is the phase where pilots want maximum performance. Engines are designed to produce enormous thrust, and aircraft are built to handle it easily. What feels intense to passengers is actually routine for the machine. Once airborne, the airplane does not climb straight up. Instead, it follows a carefully planned climb profile. Pilots reduce engine power slightly, adjust the aircraft's configuration, and begin retracting the flaps. Flaps are devices on the wings that increase lift at low speeds. They are essential for takeoff and landing, but unnecessary once the aircraft gains altitude and speed. As the plane climbs, you may notice it turning shortly after takeoff. This is not random. Airports are surrounded by airspace rules, noise restrictions, and traffic patterns. Pilots follow assigned departure routes that guide the aircraft safely away from other traffic and populated areas. Contrary to what many people believe, airplanes do not fly in straight lines across the globe. The Earth is round, and the most efficient path between 2 points is often a curved route. Winds at high altitude also play a major role. Jet streams can significantly reduce flight time when used correctly, or slow aircraft down if avoided. Eventually, the airplane reaches cruising altitude, often around 35,000 feet. At this height, the air is thinner, allowing the aircraft to fly more efficiently. Engines burn less fuel, and turbulence is often reduced compared to lower altitudes. Outside the aircraft, conditions are extremely hostile. Temperatures can drop to -50 degrees Celsius. The air is too thin to breathe, and exposure would be fatal within minutes. Inside the cabin, however, everything feels normal. This is because the aircraft is pressurized. Cabin pressurization works by pumping compressed air into the fuselage, maintaining an environment similar to what you would experience on a high mountain. This is why your ears sometimes pop during climb and descent. The pressure inside the cabin is changing gradually to keep passengers comfortable and safe. During cruise, many people assume pilots are doing nothing. In reality, this phase involves constant monitoring. Autopilot systems fly the aircraft with incredible precision, but pilots are always in control. They manage fuel, communicate with air traffic control, monitor weather ahead, and prepare for the next phases of flight. Turbulence is one of the most misunderstood aspects of flying. To passengers, it can feel alarming. To an airplane, it is simply uneven air. Turbulence does not mean the aircraft is in danger. Airplanes are designed to handle forces far greater than anything they will experience in normal flight. Wings are flexible by design. When you see them bending during turbulence, that flexibility is absorbing energy, not failing. Aircraft are tested beyond their operational limits before ever carrying passengers. What feels dramatic inside the cabin is often minor from an engineering perspective. Pilots are trained to avoid severe turbulence whenever possible. Weather radar helps them detect storm systems, and flight paths are adjusted constantly. Even when turbulence cannot be avoided, aircraft and crews are prepared. Jet engines are among the most reliable machines ever created. Modern engines can operate for tens of thousands of hours with minimal issues. Each engine is capable of producing enormous power, and commercial airplanes are designed to fly safely even if one engine fails. In the rare event of an engine failure, the aircraft does not suddenly fall from the sky. Pilots follow well-rehearsed procedures. The remaining engine provides enough thrust to continue flying and land safely at a suitable airport. This is not an emergency scenario in the way many people imagine. It is a situation pilots train for repeatedly. There are many design features on airplanes that spark curiosity. One of the most common questions is why airplane windows are round. Early aircraft used square windows, but engineers discovered that rounded shapes distribute pressure more evenly. This reduces stress on the fuselage and increases safety over long periods of pressurization. Another question is why cabin lights are dimmed during takeoff and landing at night. This allows passengers' eyes to adjust to darkness, making evacuation easier in the unlikely event of an emergency. Every small detail in aviation is designed with safety in mind. Fuel dumping is another misunderstood phenomenon. Some aircraft need to reduce weight before landing in certain situations. Fuel dumping allows them to land safely within structural limits. It is rare, controlled, and done at high altitude where fuel disperses quickly. As the aircraft begins its descent, the process is just as controlled as takeoff. Pilots reduce altitude gradually, managing speed and energy carefully. Descents are planned far in advance, often hundreds of kilometers before reaching the destination. Landing is often the most anticipated moment for passengers. It requires precision, coordination, and constant adjustment. Pilots configure the aircraft with flaps and landing gear, align with the runway, and account for wind conditions. Some landings feel smooth, while others feel firm. A firm landing is not a bad landing. In certain conditions, such as wet or short runways, pilots deliberately land firmly to ensure the wheels grip the surface immediately. Reverse thrust and brakes slow the aircraft after touchdown. Despite appearances, reverse thrust is used more for efficiency than necessity. The primary stopping force comes from the brakes and spoilers on the wings. Once on the ground, the flight is not over. Taxiing, parking, and shutdown procedures follow strict guidelines. Airports are complex systems operating around the clock. Air traffic controllers coordinate thousands of aircraft movements daily, ensuring safe separation of the ground and the air. Delays, while frustrating, are often the result of safety decisions. Weather, maintenance checks, and air traffic congestion all play roles. Aviation prioritizes safety over speed, always. Despite fears and headlines, flying remains the safest form of transportation. Every incident leads to investigation, learning, and improvement. Aviation evolves constantly, becoming safer with every lesson learned. Looking to the future, flight is entering a new era. Sustainable aviation fuels are reducing environmental impact. Electric and hybrid aircraft are being tested. Supersonic travel may return, faster and quieter than before. Yet at its core, aviation remains the same. Careful planning, precise engineering, and respect for the laws of physics. What once seemed impossible has become routine, not because we defeated nature, but because we learned how to work with it. The next time you look up and see an airplane crossing the sky, remember that behind that simple silhouette is a complex system of science, skill, and human ambition. A machine built not just to fly, but to carry millions of people safely through the air every single day. And that is the story of airplanes.